pure startup world nowadays, lean startup is one of the main pedagogies they can follow, which is essentially just the scientific method, right? Build, measure, learn, come up with a hypothesis, figure out what you can build to test that particular thing, and then see if you actually made an improvement. So it borrows very much from that scientific method, but in the pure startup world, you're iterating so quickly on such few variables, whereas in the clinical world, things take time to really actually prove out. So even though the loop may be similar, the speed of the loop or the comprehensiveness of the loop is going to be different.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's what
Mhm.
in healthcare innovation, I think when you talk to investors or people that are looking at other industries, the life cycles of development of these products are so much longer. And that
Mhm.
makes it really hard as an investor when I step in, as I now have friends that are VCs and I talk with them and kind of get their viewpoint of like when they're trying to like help a company and help a good idea move forward, they take a lot of risk, right? And it's interesting to look at it from their viewpoint of like, how am I gonna like take a risk on you when it's like put this money in and then 6 years later, maybe I'll start to get evidence, or I won't know for a very long time whether this is panning out. It's I think the traditional institutional investing world is stressed by that, because it's a totally different beast. And I think there's some approaches that are coming out that are newer, but that traditional model, I think, can run risk to cause issues, and and I think that's evolving as we speak, and we've seen some instances where when you don't do extreme due diligence or use some technique to really make sure that the process is moving along in the right direction, that you can run into trouble, like think of like Theranos and even there's a lot coming out about Cerebral right now and some of the things that have happened there. And it's like, due diligence is very important. And there was the one other point I wanted to make really quickly is that,
Sure.
clinicians are often researchers. There's another rapidly evolving science called quality improvement science, which I
Okay.
happen to be a quality improvement geek in my roles to
Okay.
change things. And that is a little bit more of a nimble science, and it's a little bit like of a dirty research and I think it's very akin to innovation. So as I learned that in my quality and safety roles at institutions and in doing performance improvement or using the Toyota method and lean methodologies to make
Right.
systems better, I think that fits very well with innovation. So I feel very connected to that because it allows you to iterate really quickly. You have
Hmm.
all these
Hmm.
real world environmental factors happening and you just pivot. And
Right.
in quality improvement, when you pivot, you basically just track what you changed and you try to move on. And so
Right.
it's not like
Hmm.
having a randomized controlled trial where you have these controlled variables and
Hmm.
then you just let it run for 5 years. You're constantly adapting, constantly moving, and you're tracking your data in a different way. You're using like something called time ordered data or statistical
Okay.
process control, where you like basically see what that run chart does over time. And then if you want to do something and then your data gets
Hmm.
worse, then you stop. You do something, you change again and watch it go up, right? So you're reacting in real time. And I think that's where there's a nexus between a real similarity between innovation and
Right.
entrepreneurship and quality improvement. So those two things that I think I've gravitated toward, like just maybe my personality or the way I do things,
Yeah.
seem to really connect.
Hmm.
And I think that's that's a very interesting place for innovators to be, instead
Hmm.
of thinking about, well, I think randomized controlled trials are important because they tell you, okay,
Okay.
this method, this piece of intervention works for this thing or this medicine works, but it doesn't tell you how people apply them in the real world. And
Right.
do they take that medication that,
Hmm.
should perform so well? And, are they taking their steps? Are they doing exercise? Or how are they doing psychologically going through a process? You have to kind of see those things every day in real time. And I think that the innovation, if it's going to move faster, needs to think like
Right.
that. And quality improvement scientists that are starting to emerge in healthcare